Good morning from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's 10:19 a.m. on the 28th of March 2024. It's Thursday. Tomorrow's the Christian Good Friday, so all the shops will be closed, and what a drag, but even the gods need a holiday every now and then, I guess. Got to cut them some slack. Just grab my cup of tea. So I've decided to make my video out in the garden for a change, because it's the first sunny day that we've had in about 5 days, and I'm very happy about that. The rain was good, but it's enough now. I can have a little break. So Charlie's up in the tree, and I had a reasonably good sleep last night. I was so exhausted yesterday. I was in a state yesterday, you probably would have noticed by my videos how I drifted in and out of almost fugue states. But I feel much better today. Still have a bit of an ache, just above where the bladder actually resides, so I think it might be a bit of internal bruising or something. Anyway, the spasming stopped and the dull, thudding ache stopped, so I'm not freaking out now. I just think it was just, I'm such a sensitive person. I'm a fragile little flower. So anyway, I feel better, and life will continuously keep evolving. I'm just wondering if I look like I'm in the dark on my computer screen. Can you even see me? Oh well, never mind. I'll carry on. Maybe if I have more sunshine on my face, but then it'll hurt my eyes. I've got very sensitive eyes as well. Anyway, we'll carry on with today's readings of even date, 28th of March 2024, and I've titled it, It's Spiritual, Losing My Religion While Gaining in My Spiritual Evolution, a work in progress, not bad for a former progressive, meaning progressive Jew. So I kind of have to chuckle at my life streaming, my psychedelic dreaming, my floating uphill against the rapids, landing often into the bear's mouth, getting chewed up and spat out again, and like all good little fishes, just keep swimming, am I right? So I posted a meme as the photo for that page. When the right spirit walks in, the wrong spirits get nervous. And it's of you can't quite see. It's of a very wise, very sanguine looking lion. So, a bit interesting that photo I posted on 2020, so you know where my mind was going in those days with all the madness all around us. So, 28th of March, I'm not comfortable, or even an ounce of grace. So they left me, usually for other women who were also grotesque, classless, and sadistic. So, in truth, water found its own level, and I got to maintain my precious, albeit isolating, marginalizing freedom. Freedom. Dominion over my own soul-ridden ex-lovers and former friends. Dominion over my own traumas, grief, and abject, despairing bathos and loneliness. Well, there was only one love of my life that I had taken decades to heal from, as he had been so easily manipulated by my mother, Buck Shearer, and Gila Rosalie. He was as malleable as putty and as cowardly as a bag of pus, which is funny, as he had been a paratrooper in the Israeli military. A piece of excrement that I loved more than my own life, and soaked myself in his shit gladly, and kept that stain alive and precious in my own heart and broken soul for decades. Well, 16 years, so a decade and almost 2 decades. But when I finally let go, after 16 years of suffering, not just over him, but the other drug-fucked creature I had consorted with for 5 years, while myself slowly dying under the influence of hefty psych meds. Hello, Mr. Crow. I had to be dumbed down and mollycoddled by the state because my love of freedom, of human decency, was dangerous, powerful, and frankly, delightful. What news from the underworld, my love? I know. It's been a very, very astonishing morning. I came out to bring Charlie outside, and there was a possum caught in her spare cage, which she must have climbed down through the top and then knocked down the 2 doors that are at the top, and so was trapped and couldn't get out. So I found her there asleep in the cage in bright sunlight, which is not good for a possum, and I freaked out because I thought she was dead. So I lifted open the doors and she hissed and snarled at me out of fear, you know. And I carefully put my hand in and I pulled out the stick that holds the doors to the cage open at the top. And she just looked at me, and so I carried the cage over under the golden rain tree near where the possum box is. And so she was still sleepy, you know, stunned like a mullet. So I Crow's gone to look in the cage. Must have known she was in there. Anyway, I put her under there, and she sort of came to her senses and climbed out and climbed straight in the possum box. So I went back in the house and got her some grapes, because I thought she's probably hungry, being trapped in that cage all night, and threw in some grapes, and she's resting in there now. Sweet little thing. She was a very big possum, actually, with a very long tail. But anyway, the animals are all up to mischief, but I'm glad that she was okay and not dead and not injured, you know. Don't like it when my wild friends die or, you know, have bad things happen to them. Wild things must remain wild and carefree and joyous at all times. Anyway, you climbing on my dress, Charlie? Ow! Why are you biting me? That's not nice. You can be a mean little bird sometimes. I continue with my reading. This little short hobbit woman was punished for daring to cleave to her truth, for living beyond the valley of the shadow of death, for fucking her own monsters who flew to her like shades of hell, and in some cases, like a harpy, I fell in love with them, and even banshees wailed and tore at their breasts, and wild-eyed and cragged and hoary, brittle and with hair flying in the winds of fate, they grieved for and all with me. The broken little girl that no lover man could love, protect, or stand with or by. That grief turned my veins thick and coagulated, grew titanium in my spirit, but they had already been thick and dense and frankly idealistic and stupid, and that was how Davidson was brought to my life as he wanted to heal me with his magnificent, swinging, faithless penis and his remedies and his cold, sadistic condescension. The cunt. I remember well how he told me, "You can do anything, Tanya, and I am not condescending you." A bit like my half-sister who said, "A mind is a terrible thing to waste." Great, Timsar, great. Not sure if you'll be able to hear me with all that background noise now. Mocking and deriding me and my daughters when I was so wrapped up in PsychMed's hell I could barely coherently string sentences together, and shuffled the characteristic Abilify shuffle. Drool too, until my nervous system broke down and they put me on Cogentin to calm my involuntarily jerking right arm. Sad but true. Abilify, disabling me in every vector of my body, mind and soul, along with all the other medications my doctors trialled me on, until my current, wise, beautiful psychiatrist, by that I actually mean handsome, but he's got a beautiful heart, he's a beautiful man, finally threw his hands up in the air and declared me treatment resistant, and I realised the treatments were the problem, not me, and that Davidson, my healer, my lover, my giant, swinging, treacherous dick, had been right about one thing. He had said I should not take psych meds, as they are pure poison and would never heal me. So that was in his capacity, by the way, as a homeopathic physician, and homeopaths operate on energy. So he was actually, although he was a bastard to me most of the time, he was actually highly intuitive, and on that particular point he was actually quite correct. The psych meds did me no good at all. So the synchronous timing that I weaned off all of them in May 2016, in the same time frame that, unbeknownst to me, he was dying, was astonishing. The love of my life, but also one of my top 10 greatest enemies, did not leave me willingly, smashing on my door as a frantic spectre for 4 consecutive nights in early June 2016, which was alarming. Also, I didn't know who it was. I didn't know he died until 3 days later. So began my healing. Even my former lover that enabled my enemies to rob me of houses, my rightful inheritance, that fucked half the Brisbane Jewish community's single women, used and abused and even attempted to strangle me. Well, he didn't attempt, he did actually strangle me. That should read as attempted to murder me, because he gave it a bloody good try, babies. Could not leave me easily during his transition into the next dimension. Then much later I realised that was the power of my authentic love. It transcends time and space. It exists almost like a life form in another dimension. It waits, it beckons, and it cheers me on. Love is the law. It is real. It is powerful. It is deserving of kindness, respect, loyalty, faithfulness, honour, integrity. Indeed it is. That's when love is real and authentic and blessed. But the soul-fucked, bloodless curs kept coming. The last one haunted me in real world last year. Ironically, again last year as well, because this was written in 2023. So it's a bit astonishing that that keeps happening too. I mean, it doesn't impact on my life because it only happens on average once or twice a year now, but it's still odd that we still have a powerful, energetic kind of connection still, considering I haven't spoken to the man in over 4 years, really. You know, it's just more ugliness than you can poke a stick at, people. And it took me a long time to heal from that ugliness too, by the way. And now I'm finally opening up to love. Very, very nervous of another repeat pattern manifesting. I can only hope and pray that my curse in my love life has finally run its course, right? One can only hope. But he too will be cycling around me for quite some time. That was prescient, since he did it twice last year as well. No man who sullies my spirit and fucks my body without honour or even basic human regard ever, ever forgets me. Sad but true. Regards, Latanya. It started out in neon lights and then it all got dark. That song mysteriously repeats on Spotify, driving home the message. Chilling, but thanks Ed Sheeran. They find their way back to me, but by that time, why would I even want them or ever choose them again? Rhetorical question. My mortal heart is a stupid, dumb cunt, but my spirit flies free and sings and dances and overcomes. 28th of March 2020. And my intuition, my sense for the first time in decades, people, literally decades, is that someone wonderful is coming into my life in the not too distant future, and hopefully we'll begin our true loving romance and partnership and union soon. Don't know who it is because I'm only surrounded at the moment by men who are married and all platonic and all very lovely to me and sweet and, you know, gorgeous men they are, but none of them are available, so I can't join with them in connubial bliss. But one day it could happen. The right person and the right timing, who absolutely values, cherishes and adores me, because I won't settle for less, people. I've done the decades of trauma and suffering over absolute dead shits. Literally, some of them are actually even dead now. And that dead lover occasionally still floats through and kind of haunts me even now. You can sometimes hear it in my writings when I start throwing in a few Hebrew words or refer to myself as Tanya Le. Even I know that I'm channeling him, which I think that happened yesterday actually. And you'll notice my eyes go really wide because I'm conscious of who that is, and I just ignore it because I don't feed that entity with my energy because it was toxic and evil when it was alive. And I'm quite certain it will still be toxic and evil now that it's dead, because some souls just don't evolve, and that's the way it is, unfortunately. So you don't engage with those kinds of entities ever, or if you do at your own personal risk, because they're dangerous, living and dead, like my mother and my entire family of origin. And it's terrifying sometimes, but I've survived them all, and life is beautiful, and I've made of my life the best that I could, and there's nothing that could have been done differently given the circumstances and the situations I had to subsume and overcome. So here I am sitting in the garden reading my stories to you in the bright sunshine, being happy in my own weird way. Yes, Charlie, we're happy in our own weird ways. Yes. 28th of March 2020. I'm standing at the sink washing a few dishes as they are gathering mass exponentially, and even the Tanya must condescend to being a domestic goddess on rare occasions. I am thinking of the character Esti in Unorthodox, escaping her Haredi lifestyle in Williamsburg. Haredi is very, very, very ultra religious Orthodox sect, like Chabad, but even more strict and crazy making, but it's a very closed community as well. And I shouldn't put my judgments on it, but it's not a nice lifestyle for women to be raised in, especially wild women like me would just curl up and die, literally. But I guess it's a mindset, because when you're raised in it, you don't know any different, right? Anyway, escaping her Haredi lifestyle in Williamsburg, and I'm smiling to myself as I almost became a Gera to that lifestyle myself. A Gera is a female convert. Last week I emailed our Chabad rabbi and offered him about a dozen or so books that were from, meaning very, very religious books. Some were suitable to pass on to an aspiring convert, but this time he did not reply. I can't help feeling it's because of that epic foulness at that Shoah meeting, also my furious, outraged emails to the board. It appears they have shared my complaints amongst themselves, so I am persona non grata, and actually I am okay with that. I have unsubscribed from their email list now. You find yourself without your community, outcast, because you dare to adhere to your truth about your childhood experiences, then those people are not your people, and that's just the way it is. And it's a seeping wound, since my Hebrew name is Ruth Tanya, because I added in Tanya after a near-death experience. And Ruth Tanya, your people will be my people, and where I lie down, where you lie down, I will lie down, and where you rise up, I will rise up. And that is in my name, Ruth. But anyway, I had to stop lying down with vermin and getting up with fleas, so I had to detach from that community. regrettably, because of so much incestuous, permeating evil, and it is what it is. You know, I don't grieve over it anymore. I've reached acceptance. But that same Chabad rabbi has over the years, been a friend to me, and I did actually speak to him. I think was it last year or 2022? Had a pleasant conversation. I can't remember. Oh yes, I rang him to thank him because someone had come to my house and left me shmura matzah for Passover, which is a very special matzah, and they had left me a gift of a silver napkin holder in sterling silver, which was gorgeous, and I melted it down and made a ring out of it. So I rang him to thank him. I thought it came from him or someone in his congregation, but he said it didn't come from him personally, and he didn't know who gave it to me, and it was a real mystery. So even though I detach from that community, I still have friends in that community who treat me with deep honour and kindness. So it's not all